Walk up.
15 bob, no questions asked. Right. Now that I've been made up to sergeant, I don't want you lot to worry about me being too regimental.
The original intention was to write a show with a good part in it for me. So I wrote the part of the spiv, Walker.
Now, for instance, when I call a roll, if there's someone who's not here and he's a regular customer of mine, and he spends, say, what, £2 or more a week, I'll mark him here, present.
If you're a writer and you've written yourself a funny part, and all the other actors think all the best lines are going to him, so that is not a desirable thing.
It would have been wrong if I'd have been playing that. There would have been a lot of trouble.
I was always convinced about Jimmy Beck, and I thought he had the right sort of spiffy character.
Oh, by the way, I think I know where I can lay my hands on a couple of reconditioned cricket balls. Very hard to get these days.
Yes, thank you, Walker.
He was, I suppose, a stereotype.
Here, listen, you haven't seen me. I'm delivering some of the sweet stuff, you savvy?
Some sugar?
Yes, stash.
Because the spiv existed very much during the war because they could supply butter and sugar and tea and things that were in very short supply.
I've got your elastic here. Oh! Do you want some pickle, Pikey?
Yes, please, Joe.
What about the coupons?
I haven't seen any of this since before the war.
How many do you want?
Where on earth did you get all those coupons?
£2.10 a piece, £4.10 for the pair. I've got a big family.
Sell your own grandmother, wouldn't you?
Well, there's no market for her.
And he was wonderful for little comedy lines. When Mannering was walking up and down, when they were lining up, he could always be relied on to have that little line.
We have the first metatarsal, second metatarsal, third metatarsal, fourth metatarsal, and last but not least...
The little piggy that went wee, 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 all the way up.
All right, everyone in listening position, please.
I think I could hear the sea.
You must have a pilchard tin.
And in the skies above us are...
The Broad Cream Boys.
The brilliant...
But he was ideal for that, and he gave that nice little disreputable quality to the platoon that was so important, occasionally going off and coming back with something.
Joe, that is a magnificent animal.
Well, I told you, leave it to me. I told Mr. Mannering I'll get him a mascot. There it is.
Well, it doesn't look much like the photograph to me, Joe.
Well, don't worry about it. We can always tidy it up a bit.
I thought Jimmy Beck got right into the character of Walker.
What's the meaning of that?
Well, it's more comfy.
There's a government property and you've ruined them.
No, they're not the ones I was issued with. I've got 200 pairs down in the stores. It's not unless you have something you like.
All right, that'll do. See me afterwards.
He was absolutely personification of the wide boy.
Bert's fixed a Lewis gun, 15 bob, no questions asked. I'll bring it back when I come back later.
Right, spend it.
I'll bring you back that bottle of whiskey and all.
Right, off you go. Rough diamond, isn't he? Heart of gold, of course.
Yes, of course, yes.
James Beck and Private Walker had one similarity in the sense they were both East End boys.
This is a bit of a lark, isn't it? Old Jones is up the creek without a paddle and no mistake.
They were both working class.
One thing I can't stand is common people.
But there were probably more differences than similarities. Beck was a very interesting, complex individual, much more complex than Walker. He had lots of interests outside of the sitcom and outside of the theatre.
He was very versatile. He was a good impersonator, a good sketch drawer, and he did sculpture and things like that, so he had a lot of artistic leanings, really. He was an interesting character. I went around with him quite a lot and got on well with him.
If it hadn't been for you, we wouldn't have been in this position in the first place.
Don't worry about it. We'll try it again later, won't we? I mean, when we feel more fresh, you'll have a fag.
Thank you.
James Beck, who played the Spiv, was a wonderfully talented actor, I think. A very carefree, happy man.
I was a boy soldier.
What did they do? Pin a medal on your napkin?
In my opinion of Jimmy Beck, a brilliant actor, absolutely brilliant. I mean, he was a Cockney boy. He'd been in the army, a gym instructor, and out there. And then he'd been in York Rep, so he got his experience there.
He'd done Shakespearean work. He'd done a great deal of repertory work. He was very keen to find a niche, and Dad's Army, as one of the younger members of the cast, was his great breakthrough.
Hello, Captain Mannering. I haven't seen you here before.
Oh, I come in from time to time.
Here, listen, if you've bust your specs, I know a fellow with 500 francs. How are they used?
I haven't broken them.
Oh.
Tell you the truth, I didn't know James Beck at all. David cast him.
I first came across James Beck because obviously one was looking for actors all the time. And I think he came up to read a part for me. I don't remember which programme it was, but I had a lot of shows, and he was a very useful jobbing actor, as it were.
He'd had bit parts before, quite often ironically playing people on the right side of the law, police officers and customs officers and figures like that. So this was a change.
You seem very well informed.
Well, we used to run the brandy from France before the war in the motorboats, you know. And there was this bent Coast Guard who used to give us a tip-off when they were coming round a bay.
Really?
He'd known people like that in the past. He'd grown up with people like it. So even though it wasn't him, it was next door to him. And so he made that very true to life and transcended the caricature of the Spiv.
Here, listen, Taffy, I'm a bit worried about Mannering. I think we ought to go back and finish off the parade.
Joe, you're weakening. You've a heart of a coward.
No, it's not that. I don't like to see him upset.
Poor old Jimmy Beck passed away in the middle of a series, actually. And, of course, when he was carted off to hospital, we were stuck with the... He'd done the filming, but he was not going to appear in the studio. So we were actually faced with the fact that he was not going to be there on a day of transmission. So rather poignantly, sort of, we quickly rewrote a scene, and there was a note left in his place on the lineup. Said he's gone to the smoke. And it was very sad.
They never really filled that gap afterwards, and they had to move around with other characters and try them.
They got the Welsh photographer in for 6 episodes, Telfer and Thomas.
They tried to get someone in to replace, but it didn't last. It wasn't their fault they couldn't replace him. It just didn't work.
What you got that net on it for?
Well, that's for mosquito net.
What are you talking about? There's no mosquitoes here, you silly old duffer.
No, but it goes with the bag, doesn't it? We've been together for 50 years.
And it don't seem a day too much.
And he could do anything, and he was a very talented man. I mean, if you could, I got him to come do a few Sunday concerts with me, and I taught him little bits of dancing, tap dancing, and he could sing a song, and he was a brilliant mimic.
And here we have Betty, in a natty little one-piece woodland ensemble.
He was brilliant. I greatly admired him. He was very sad that his tummy couldn't take the so many gin and tonics. Sad.
When James Beck died, there was a gap left in Dad's army. You could never entirely erase that absence, and no one wanted to. That he was an important member of the cast. He provided great energy, great charm.
Hello, Frida.
Who's that?
It's Joe Walker.
Oh, hello, Joe.
You got my steak ready, Doreen?
Oh, yes, go and get Mr. Walker's steak, Betty. Oh, coming out.
You never forget him because he was so perfect for the role, and the role was so perfect for the platoon.
Look, all we've got to do is get a pair of boots the same as Mr. Mannering wears, only a bit smaller, and swap them over. Right, now, we put these tin hats on the sheep, and then we take them up to the mill. Now, you get your blokes out through the escape tunnel into the van and away.
What about using the other one?
And I think it's one of the great tragedies that he died so young, because I think had he lived, he would have become one of our leading character actors. He was a man of great talent, great charm, and very, very sad that he died so young.